giving up doesn't look like suicide all the time. It sometimes looks like passive, allowing life just to hit you. You know, I think that's most of the time what it looks like.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Build Your Vision podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about passion and purpose and what those two words mean in our journey toward building our vision. With me today, I have special guest Kevvin Thaw. Kevvin is a professional cosmetologist and YouTuber, and Kevvin has amassed over 31,000 subscribers on his barber education channel. He has truly turned his passion for cutting hair into a purpose-driven project, and we dive into it on this episode of the podcast. Kevvin takes us on the journey of him finding his passion in barbering and then reluctantly going to college and finally pursuing his passion full-time, but then getting knocked down by being diagnosed with a chronic illness. And then, of course, his purpose was magnified in his comeback. It's a great story, and I think he brought light to a lot of things that we kind of overlook in this vision building process and overall in life, to be honest. Thank you guys for sharing the podcast on your social media. Those who have been doing that, I really do appreciate it. It helps market the show to those who otherwise probably would have never came across the podcast, but honestly need the message and the value that this podcast offers. If you want to help at least one friend, just one friend that needs inspiration and advice toward building their dream lifestyle and livelihood, tag the pod at Build Your Vision Pod on IG, on your IG story, and then tell that friend who needs this content. Lastly, if you like the show, the best way to show that love is to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The feedback makes me so happy, and it honestly gives me the motivation I need to keep making more content, growing this show, and touching more lives. If you've already left a review before, thank you so much. I deeply appreciate it, but that's the best way you can show your gratitude for enjoying the show. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and it will make me so happy. All right, let's get into this episode about passion and purpose with Kevvin Thaw. Let's get it.
Loading.
Extra, read all about it.
It's a case study for success.
Be teachable.
What better way to learn than to just ask?
The learning process becomes a journey,
turning dreams into realities.
Part of execution is totally believing whatever you're doing is going to work.
What are your passions and what are your gifts? And that's where it really starts.
Chances are for taking. Take a chance on yourself.
Any and everyone is capable of being a leader.
You're not going to have all the answers immediately.
Wow.
Mentors to expose you to things that you otherwise wouldn't know.
It was all I thought about and dreamed. Like I would literally get up in the morning, practice, because I knew the time would come.
Just do it.
aka Kev the Barber. Most people know me as Kev the Barber in the shop or whatever, or YouTube. I've amassed over 30,000 subs on YouTube over the past 3+ years. And the goal I've had overall, some may be able to simplify it or think it's simplified to haircutting, but haircutting is literally just the avenue I use to learn about myself and connect with others. I found my purpose through it, and I want to help others do the same. And that's literally what I believe I was created to do. So that's generally my intro.
Cool. And I knew you in high school. We were in high school together, and I know you started cutting hair then. And I mean, we had a couple barbers who were on campus, and you were, of course, one of them. But then you were kind of, I mean, other people are still cutting hair, but you're kind of like the only one that kind of continued and turned it into your occupation, and like, this is your main source of income. And when did it, like, I know you went to school, and I want to go back a little bit. Like, when you first started cutting hair, was it just like a thing to, get a little side cash, or was it something like, that you actually were like really into, or how did that go?
Well, I can tell you what sparked the interest wasn't money at all. Like, what it was I wanted to see if I could do it. That was really just it. Like, I saw, I mean, of course, like Sean was doing it. There was other people doing it, and I just wanted to see, like, well, can I pick this up and do it? And then I saw people on YouTube, and I was really curious to know if I stick with it, would I be able to produce the haircuts that I loved looking at? So that's really what began the journey. Of course, money is also nice. You get to order out and stuff like that. Like, that was dope to be able to do that. But I would say what kept me there was the drive to learn more about it.
Cool. And when you went to school, away to college after you graduated, you were cutting hair at this point. What did you go to school for as far as college?
Initially, I went to school for, I started out physical therapy because I was playing ball, of course. And I felt like I wanted to understand the body. Like, I just want to learn a lot of stuff. So physical therapy was my avenue of learning the body. And I also love interacting with people, which is why haircutting was such a good combination. So I figured that would be the avenue, but I dropped it the moment. I shadowed a physical therapist before I went, like at my mom's hospital or whatever. Her homegirl was in people's groins and all that. I was like, yeah, bro, like, I love one-on-one, but this is a little too much. So going in, I did major in physical therapy knowing that I was going to switch because I didn't want to be undecided.
Right. Okay.
So the moment I found psychology in an intro to psychology class, I was like, this is it right here. I get to learn about myself and others on a deeper level. So if I master this content or, get a good grasp on it, then in turn I'd get a good grasp on life. So that's what the motive there was.
So you graduated with a bachelor's in psychology?
Yeah.
Cool. And then here's the point that I notice a lot of people struggle with is you get your degree, and you think you kind of have a plan, maybe not. And now you're in this place where it's like, okay, you have to make a decision. Lots of people come out of school without a job or without anything set up for them.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Well, I didn't want to graduate from college for one. From Pine Forge, like, people were hyped graduating from Pine Forge, and I was just nonchalant, like melancholy, because like I knew from here we had to go to college, and I didn't want to go there. Right, and the reason being was because I understood, which is what I also learned more in psychology, is that school isn't set up or designed for you to be successful in life. I played instruments, I played ball, I did a whole bunch of things that I felt I took myself from zero and mastered. And in order for me to do that, I had to spend a lot of time failing in it. And I didn't feel like school set up a system for that to happen. So for me to grow as a person, I felt like college was a waste of my time. But so in saying all that, my idea was I needed to have a plan while in college. Because my parents wanted me to be there, of course, and they were paying for it. So that's why I didn't drop out.
Right.
But I think overall the issue is people go to college and they prioritize a degree over a plan, and that's the issue. You graduate and you don't have a plan because you think having a degree is more important than that, but that's all it is. All it is knowing what you're going to do. The degree is only as valuable as your use of it.
Yeah. So, man, that is something right there. And I was talking to someone before, and they were kind of saying that the future of education out of post high school pretty much higher education is going to be going back toward kind of where we came from, which is trades and certifications, which I think is a good thing because you get to focus solely on what you want to do and progress in something that you are good at instead of trying to lift up your weaknesses, which you're not going to be passionate about those anyway. So, okay, you have the psychology degree that you kind of just did because, you were there and you had the opportunity. Why not? Pretty much. What was your mindset like after you got that degree and now it's time to take on real life, quote unquote?
Again, like I took on real life before I graduated. That's my thing. Like,
right. So you were already going, right? When you were in college. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I picked up I decided I was going to be a barber my sophomore year of college.
Okay.
So that's the moment I picked up a camera, started marketing myself online, started my YouTube channel, Instagram, came up with the name The Barber's Table because I knew everybody writes resumes so that you can be known. But what if you're already known? You don't need to write a resume. So for me, I go to these barber shows and people already know who I am. Like I can go to a barber shop and I'm an ideal barber for your shop because not only have I exemplified my ability to cut hair, speak, communicate with clients and all that, but I can market and I can I've already shown myself worthy to be in this shop.
Right, and you have social proof, pretty much.
Exactly.
So, going towards that direction a little bit, you had a trade, you had a talent, you had a gift, you had something that you worked on, which was barbering, and like self-care, and that's not all you stuck with. Lots of people have talents. Lots of people are good who are out there, but you marketed yourself and you went about it in a way where you were able to differentiate yourself from the pack of people. How did you go? What was your mindset going into that? How did you, I know you started the YouTube channel, you started on other social platforms, of course, word of mouth. What was your mindset going into doing that?
Okay, well, I think starting off, I think everybody can do it. That's why I did do it, because at the end of the day, nobody is me and everybody's unique.
Right.
So I felt like the only way for me to really establish myself was to learn myself and then learn to document the authentic side of me. So like you can't find a combination of a middle child, went to Pine Porch, started cutting hair there, went to Andrews University, was cutting in college, is black, all these combinations that makes me was an athlete, all of that. If I just told that story as well as I could and as consistently and as, good as possible, I think it would just flourish from there.
So how did you go about sharing that story? What was your plan?
What was my plan? So, well, I stuck to what I knew. Like I was watching YouTube in high school. So the platform of YouTube was very specific because I fully understood it. Like I knew what it meant to sit and watch a video and know if it's going on for too long or if somebody learned, or I understood the experience of a viewer because I was a viewer. So I chose YouTube for that specific reason. I stuck with what I knew, which I think a lot of people tend not to do. They tend to go with what's quote unquote working for people, but it's only working for them because they know it. So if you just stick with something connect with people the way that you would like to be connected back when you were that person, then I think it's all natural from there.
Yeah. Do you think it's like innate that the most successful people in whatever their niche is, they were their customer at one point? I see that quite often.
Yeah.
Like
I think without that aspect, it's very difficult to move. Like you have to pull from that area.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to provide value to someone that you don't even know what they need,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, lots of people try to do YouTube, try to build that Instagram page or whatever it is. But lots of people give up in the process because it's not something that just happens. It's something that takes work. It's something that takes planning and ideation and creativity. How did you go about that? I'm curious.
I knew first I looked at what I did for a long period of time. again, like psychology helped me a lot in how I think about things. In order to stick with something, there has to be a why greater than that something for you to continue. So for me, I remember playing ball and looking at like going to parks or whether the school system I'm in, and I was usually the better basketball player out of the people that I knew. And I'd always ask myself why that is. Like I thought everybody could be good. I didn't believe it was congenital. Like I didn't believe you were born with these skills. And even the when you play ball, like you're one of the nicer ones, and there's somebody else who's also good. Like you guys kind of connect on that skill level. And anytime that happened, I recognized that person almost always wanted to go to the NBA. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or almost always like wanted to play in college. Like, and everybody else who didn't meet that skill level was just doing it for fun or, for their health or, you know what I'm saying? The reason behind why they were doing it translated into how good they actually were.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I recognize that in life that like, if I want to be really good at something, there has to be a reason greater than actually doing that something for me to actually be really good at it. I was going to spend time doing something because that field was known to have a high salary, because I wouldn't be one of the better people there because I'm not there for a greater purpose.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, the greater purpose in cutting hair initially was just wanting to reproduce great haircuts. Like that was driving me to like, just be really good at the craft. That's one aspect. But then like as you grow in a field, like you get bored with the things that attracted you to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I have to reinvent it, reinvent. So for me, now that skills are like second nature, like certain techniques or just whatever, I've challenged myself to connect with somebody or trying to figure out, because when you talk to a lot of people in these shares, like they don't have much purpose. They're doing something because their parent wants them to, or they're doing something because they're fearful of doing something else. And as a psychology major, I'm very interested in that. So just uncovering that and helping them find their own purpose is also something that drives me. So imagine you're cutting hair, but you're trying to help somebody find their purpose. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that gives a whole new experience to the customer too, because
Exactly.
they're coming there for more than a haircut. Yeah, they're coming there for like the entire experience that you provide, and it's something that kind of the give and take between your why and then also their why for coming to your chair. Yeah,
and that person, I find that the moment I hit that nerve or hit that point, that person comes back always.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. I find myself even like I might be one of those people who on the court, like you notice that I mean, maybe when I was little, I want to go to the NBA, but at a certain point, like high school, I was like, I mean, NBA isn't for me. So I was just playing, I was just playing for fun. I didn't have that extra thing, that extra, whatever it is that those other people have, because, my why wasn't the same as their why. But when it comes to other certain things in my life, I do have that drive and I keep excelling in those areas because I have that purpose behind it. And just like, if you don't have that, then you're just always going to be mediocre because you just you don't have that thing to push you to the next level.
Because I'm sure with those things that like push you, you're just doing it just randomly. You just wake up one day and just doing it just because it's there.
And you could be good at it. You could be good at it naturally. You could just have a natural tendency to just excel in that space. But as far as hitting that next level, it just isn't going to happen without that reason, that purpose that you have. That's great, man. I think so many more people need to hear that message. But I know that you're seeing a good amount of success, and you went to barber school. I did notice that after you finished college. Is that right?
Cosmetology school, but
cosmetology school. So that's the whole scope of everything, right?
In Jersey, it is. In certain areas, you still need to do a little more hours for barbering, but in Jersey, it's
cool.
1,200 to 900.
So. For that was just so that you could get that certification because this is the next step for what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What was that experience like? I'm curious for that too.
Again, it goes back to the purpose. It's crazy how it all like just. So it's like, to me, I saw it as everything I'm doing is something I want to teach somebody else. I have a YouTube channel, 30,000 and all that. I had a plan to document it. So not only was I trying to experience cosmetology school, but I was trying to have other people experience it with me, so that if they ever wanted to come, they had a really good idea of it.
Right.
The same idea I didn't have. So it's more like,
you were filling a void pretty much that you didn't have. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I feel like I'm continually doing as I grow, just really helping people do that. So it was purpose filled, I guess I can say. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of it was filled with young Spanish girls. That was the demographic, if I were to be specific.
Yeah.
So like, I was 23, 22. In my mindset, I've always felt like I was an old soul. So even while I'm an old soul, I'm also older. So it felt like I was trying to get some information while other people were just lost, So, I just found myself documenting how I was learning. That was really it.
Yeah, and I would watch some of those tutorials. I'm not even a person that cuts hair, even though I'm trying to start getting into cutting my own hair because this experience moving back to Maryland, from having a go-to barber to not having a barber has been a struggle sauce. Has been a struggle, but so I'm definitely gonna be on your channel even more. But documenting your experience was something more authentic that I just felt like other people were able to connect to. Like, you didn't have it all together yet. Some people like wait until, okay, I'm going to get my certification. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get my chair. I'm going to get my shop. Then I'll start doing this thing. But you did it all along the way, and you got even probably more followers, even more loyal fans.
Yeah.
Because you showed your vulnerability as far as, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring this thing out. Come join me in the process. I think so many people should try to do that, and not just like, I'm doing stuff. Look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother thing. There's a thin line. You got to still be providing value. You still got to be providing value. But that's interesting. Everyone has a story, and everyone usually in that story has some type of failure or like struggle that they went along in the process. And I feel like so many people, including the people themselves, have grown so much from that experience. I'm sure the listeners can as well. Is there anything that you went throughout your process and maturation into your career that you struggled with, or that was a failure that you learned from, or anything like that?
First thing that comes to mind when hearing that is not my own doing, but it was contracting the illness that I have. I have an incurable autoimmune disease that like took me out like during school, it started, the onset was like 7 weeks into school. And then it's called relapsing polychondritis. And what it does is it attacks your cartilage from your neck up, and it could be fatal if there's airway involvement, which I have, which means like you have trouble breathing. And I don't know if listeners can hear me breathing, but if that ends up closing, like I need to get a tracheotomy. There's a whole lot of stuff. But overall, what it ended up doing was I had a flare up, took me out of school for like a month and a half. And it's like, sure, a lot of things happen to you physically. I think the biggest battle when it comes to an illness or like a chronic illness that happens to somebody, everything is mental. Like if you lose like confidence, you're not sure about what happens in the future. Like you think all of the work that happened in the past is like done now. Like there's a bunch of stuff you have to battle with.
Yeah.
And in that battle, I was already focused on purpose, but I found like a new realm. Like I felt a new like form of, I guess, appreciation, gratitude for the family I have, for the upbringing, for all the skills I got. Like to me, before that happened, you asked me, basketball and everything that I felt I was good at was something I went and got, but I didn't get this illness. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting to see that God kind of showed me everything you worked for, I gave you the ability to work for. You see what I'm saying? So like, if I didn't give you those things, if I didn't give you those interests, you'd be nothing. Because look, like you're in bed, you can't move, and I give you what you have. So gave me that level of appreciation, and in recovery, because it's a lifelong illness, but even still, in recovery, I've talked to a psychologist, and she was like surprised at how I was functioning, how I was handling everything mentally, because the psychologists know that this is something, a mental battle.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that there are so many people that are going through things that they're not willing to talk about, and they're not sharing that they've given up, because giving up doesn't look like suicide all the time. It sometimes looks like passive, allowing life just to hit you.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's most of the time what it looks like.
Yeah.
So in that in her reaffirming my strength, it made me realize there are people that need that mindset, need that perspective. So I felt like the biggest thing I can give somebody is the perspective that God has, you know, molded me in my growth to have. So
yeah. And for like you getting sick, that happened in college when you were at Andrews?
No, it started in cosmetology school.
Cosmetology school. Okay, yeah.
In cosmetology school.
Wow. And that just like brought you down for a little bit as far as physically, and you weren't able to that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I feel like that gives like a complete mind shift of how you just think about everything. I'm sure now that you're not able to do all the things that you were able to do before, and sometimes that could leave you like a whole new outlook on what else you need to be doing. Like the other things could have been a distraction from what your actual purpose was supposed to be. It's crazy how God works like that sometimes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Though I wish I still had it, but it's
That's great. And I saw a post a little while ago that you did, and it was really inspiring, just the story and the mental toughness that you exuded throughout that process, and the process you're still going through, but you're touching lives, man. It's really good.
I'm trying, man.
Yeah. So
that's actually the picture you're talking about was the shift. That's the moment I realized that I had something to share.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you shared that. Some people, you know, are kind of shut off and they don't want to share their failures or the things that they struggle with. But I feel like there's so many things that people need to hear, because so many people are going through so many things and they've given up passively, like you said.
Yeah.
And no one really knows that they're struggling with something, but they are. And it's these little things, these little acts of vulnerability that really give the encouragement that they need.
Absolutely.
So I like to ask this question to some people, because it's interesting what they will say. So imagine if you had a time machine and you were able to go back to Kevin when he was 8, Kevin when he was in high school, Kevin when he was in college, whatever it was, cosmetology school, and you're able to tell old Kevin something that he needs to know for the future. What would you tell him?
I tell him to network. I tell him that like growth isn't always just how much muscle you can tack on. Like sometimes it's how much you can bring people together towards a common goal.
That's good.
Yeah, that's real, because that's the East Coast mindset. Like, go get it in, like toughness, buckle, bootstraps, all that. But you get further when you try and find people who think like you, and it's stronger that way.
Right. And imagine if you, like, you know, you're driving on, I don't know, New Jersey Turnpike or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, they have billboards, big ones on the side, and you had a billboard that you owned. It was sponsored by you, and you could tell anyone who's driving down that major highway that you could tell them something that they would see when they passed and saw this billboard. What would be the message that you would give to all those people?
Just live purposefully. It's really it. Just if you're not living in your purpose, you're living to please somebody else. That's really it.
Yeah, man, for sure. That's really what this whole podcast is about. Is just
word. I peep. This one is dope, bro. I like what you're doing.
Yeah, finding that vision, man, and going for it. Just finding that satisfaction you have in life, because that's the one thing I don't want to do. If I do that, then I will consider myself a failure if I don't at least try and go for the things that I really want in life. There's one last thing that I do want to ask as we're starting to wrap up. But what's been the most rewarding part of you going through this process of trying to build out your vision in the career and lifestyle that you want?
Most rewarding. It's hard. It's like a continual thing. I don't know if there's one thing I can pick. It's just knowing that I'm doing something that I want to do. knowing myself, and that I'm not chasing I'm chasing something that means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's what constantly is rewarding.
If there was someone that was like in your shoes, like let's say I know a few people who have graduated college or whatever, they have a degree that they didn't really want, or that they're not necessarily passionate about, and they're just going through life like trying to either please other people, or maybe they don't even really have anything that they even know that they really want to do. Like, what would you say to those type of people? I often struggle with like the words to conjure up to tell them like.
For me, I always think the answers are inside of them. You just gotta find the questions, like, you know, that get it out. So for me, it's like, what do you do? Like, I remember playing ball and not remembering what time it was or how long we played. Like, you know, I was like, if I could get paid to do something and not know what time it is, that would be crazy. So what do you do that you completely forget what time it is? Like, what is that thing? And whatever that thing is, you got to continue to dive into why it is. Because for me, I thought I wanted to be a basketball player because I loved it so much. But I realized what was pulling me towards basketball was what brought me there, which was Michael Jordan. And I think the ability to inspire others with what you're doing is what really enticed me. And I realized you don't have to do that by dribbling the basketball. You can do that with something you like doing. Like,
right, yeah.
So it's finding out what it is you like doing and then really immersing yourself into why you like doing it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like a really important part is, because we often like to try to tag titles onto certain things. Like, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a doctor.
Exactly.
And sometimes you're very good at that thing, and it could be something that you could do, but it's not why you're doing it. That's just the title that's put on it. Often the thing that we're really passionate about is the underlying emotional tie that we have to whatever it is. So if you are a YouTuber and you do these different type of videos that people enjoy, it's not like you enjoy being a YouTuber. That's not
exactly.
You enjoy telling stories. You enjoy connecting with people. It's the underlying thing. So I think that's what more people need to dive into instead of trying to find a career,
a title.
A title.
There's no Dr. Gene. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no. It's not innate. Like, there's a purpose behind it, and you're using that as a vessel.
Right. Exactly. That's the medium that you're going through. So I think that's where people need to really start doing things. So I'm trying to find out some ways to kind of tap into this for people in a way that's concise and they could go through like a system of it. So that's why I ask these type of questions, because people give me different ideas on what I could do to help people find that vision that they have for themselves that's really like deep down inside that they haven't really let out yet.
Like, yeah. That's dope that you're setting that up, because I do know, like, that's a thing that a lot of people struggle with. It's something that I see all the time, and that's something I really try to ask people to really get it out, because I know. But I think what's really important though is it is going to be a struggle, and that's something like you'd have to accept if you really want it, because if it was easy, then you just have it. The fact is, knowing takes doubt, takes beating yourself up, takes all of that.
Exactly. That's the other part of it. It's not going to be easy no matter what, but it should be easier. I don't know if anyone, I mean, like Michael Jordan, I'm sure he was like, I put in a lot of time. I put in a lot of like injuries. I put in a lot of like tax on my body, but I'm not sure he was thinking about, I'm going to be going through a lot of injuries. I'm going to be going through a lot of taxation on my body. He wasn't thinking that. He was just thinking about the goal, and he went through all that stuff, but it wasn't like, he wasn't thinking that he was working. He was thinking that he was attaining something. You know what I'm saying? So like, even if it is a lot of work, like me contacting countless people to be on the show, or me trying to researching all day on how to do this or how to set up that, like, I'm not thinking about, man, this is so much work. Even though it's a lot of time and a lot of effort that I'm putting into it, that just passion and something that I lose track of time doing is something that just happens. It's kind of just something. It's not like
it's something you just do.
Right. It's not something where you're like torturing yourself trying to achieve this thing. You know, it's something that you just naturally do because you love to do it. So I think that's the great part that comes along with it.
With living in your purpose. Yeah,
man.
That's very true,
bro. It was good talking to you, man.
Absolutely, bro.
I haven't
It's
talked
been
to you
a
in a
long
while.
time.
Yeah, man. I'm extremely proud of everything you're doing. You're representing PFA
Appreciate you.
really well. I wish the most success to you, and I hope that YouTube channel keeps growing. And I'm definitely going to. I might have to hit you up and ask some questions.
Word.
Cause
Self Cut's coming out soon, actually. That's why I've been wearing hats. Yeah.
Oh, true. That's what's up. I need that, man, because I'm like, and plus moving from the South to back up here on the East Coast, the price point has changed a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even since I left, I'm just like, what, 35? What?
Yeah, bro.
So I'm just like, I don't know if I can fade this, man. I'm gonna have to figure something out because I'm not paying you all this money to cut my hair. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Kevvin Thaw. Coming away from this message, I just want to remind you of one thing. Never underestimate your influence. Your voice and your passion matters. Kevvin turned something that some people might not take seriously into a purpose-driven lifestyle that provides fulfillment for himself and also fills the hearts of others. Your passion and your purpose can meet. You just have to be intentional about it. If you want to check out Kevvin's YouTube channel or any of his social media handles, they'll all be linked in the show notes, especially if you're trying to make some money or save some money by cutting hair, which is probably going to be me in the next couple of weeks. If you're wearing a hat, if you follow me on Instagram or on LinkedIn and you see me wearing a hat all the time, you know why. It's because I probably botched up my head. Anyway, follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn if you want more vision casting, vision building content outside of the podcast. My goal really is to just help you realize, build, and attain that vision that you have for your life that I know is inside of you and it's inside of all of us. So you can go out and just live the life of your dreams. All our social handles are linked in the description if you have any questions, or you could go to buildyourvision.co to ask any questions as well. I will talk to you guys soon. And until then, as always, keep building your vision every single day. Peace.
Hey guys, Clee here. Thanks so much for listening to the Build Your Vision podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would think you did if you stayed all the way to the end. The best thing that you could do to help support this show is by sharing it with somebody. By you just taking a few seconds to recommend this show to somebody, you are making a huge impact, not only on the success of this show, but possibly on that person's life.